Hey there, Rub-a-Dub subs, it's Blackmetalwerewolf making a brand new video for you this week. And this week we are going to be doing a review. If you remember, a couple months ago I did my mail opening video, and a band called Vorbid sent me an album. And that's what I'm going to be doing a review of, their very first EP. If you've never heard of Vorbid, I'll give you a very brief history of them. They're a four-piece thrash metal band from Norway that formed in 2013. The band members consist of Michael Eriksson on the rhythm guitar and vocals, Marcus Gullufsson on drums, Jonas Tellefsson on bass, and Daniel Emanuelsson on lead guitar. I apologize if I pronounced any of your names wrong, and I'm willing to bet that I did. But enough of the chit-chat, let's get down to the actual review. So let's start with the production value. When I first saw the album, I wasn't sure what to expect going into it. Was it going to be like ultra high quality? Was it going to be a garage band doing their first recording on a tape recorder? I didn't see any record label logos on it, so I wasn't really sure what to expect going into it. But then I listened to it and realized that this was like ultra high production value. It was crisp, it was clear, it sounded good. It sounded, I wouldn't have bet it's the exact way they wanted it to sound, which is perfect. But then after I listened to it for the first time, I realized that it even says right on the back, recorded, mixed, and mastered at a legitimate recording studio. So something went right over my head. But, you know, going into it, I had kind of low expectations, but then I listened to it and like, man, this is awesome. So, fucking production value, 10 out of 10. Next, let's talk about the lyrical content. When I got this album, they had a little tiny note inside of it saying, I hope you like thrash. And I do. But I was kind of like half expecting it to be like standard thrash fare, talking about war and politics and murder and, you know, all the regular things you get from a generic thrash band. And I was pleasantly surprised that they didn't just go down the boring generic route. When you sit down and like read the lyrics, it's actually quite deep and very well written, and I was highly impressed because once again, I was like, half of me was expecting just boring generic shit that you could get from any run-of-the-mill thrash metal band just trying to copy Slayer or whatever, but these guys said like, we like the style, but we want to do our own thing, and you can clearly see it in the lyrical content. Next up, let's talk about the vocals. Now, the vocals drove me nuts in the right way. It's not that the vocals were bad, because they were actually really, really good. What drove me nuts is that it sounded so familiar, but I couldn't quite put my finger on who it sounded like. But then one day I was just listening to Vorbid again, and it clicked in my head. It sounds a lot like the lead singer of Metal Church. Now, I don't know if he was legitimately inspired by Metal Church, or if it just happens to be a coincidence and they have similar vocal styles. Either way, I like the sound of it, and it was really good. I like it was like clean vocals, but more high-pitched, in an age where everyone is trying to go for the dark, gritty death metal growl. This guy was like, nah, I'm doing my own thing. And it makes it stand out, because I can't say I've listened to a modern thrash metal band that really goes for that singing style. So it's reminiscent of something from the past, but it's fresh and new, which is great. Next up, let's talk about the guitar work. And let me tell you, the guitar work on this EP is a fucking showstopper. Every song has at least one solo, and every solo is fast, intense, masterfully executed, and long as hell. Some people will complain about a long guitar solo, but you will never, ever hear that complaint coming from me. The longer, the better. As long as you can play well and you make it sound good, I am all fucking ears. These guitar players are so insanely talented that if this band ever split up, all I have to do is use this as a resume to get into any other band, and any other band would be lucky to fucking have them. So if you ask me, when it comes to guitar work, 10 out of fucking 10. Now let's talk about the bass playing and the drum work. I really enjoyed the bass playing and the drum work. By no means was it bad. However, I do feel that it was kind of pushed to the background. It's clear that they really wanted to focus on the guitar playing. When you see a song that has 2 guitar solos, or in I think one case there was like 3 solos, but there was no drum solo or there was no bass solo, I just kind of feel like, hey, these guys kind of deserve their time in the spotlight because they're quite good. They, you know, give me a drum solo every now and then. Granted, this is just an EP that only has 4 songs, so, you know, maybe they do have that planned for the future. I really don't know. And you can only really do so much with an EP, especially when you're doing it with your own cash. So, okay, I can understand that. Just I really hope in the future that the drummer gets a wicked drum solo, or the bass player just shreds on the bass and just, you know, totally blows us all away. So it is very good. I just kind of felt that was pushed to the background. Now to do my last thing that I always love talking about is the artwork. Now, the artwork for this album isn't that bad, but to me, it's not really representative of the music. If I were to see this in the store, like on a shelf or something, I don't really know what I would be getting into until you flip it over and kind of see that these guys on the back are clear metalheads. But on the front, like, it is a cool, like, bloodied up Jesus with a vulture hanging out on his shoulder. That is cool. And I just don't really like the big yellow sun. I kind of think that draws way too much attention from the clear centerpiece here. Oh, other than that, it's a pretty cool picture. I just kind of feel that it might not represent the music the way it should be represented. But even though as much as I did enjoy this album, I have to come down to the complaint section. And I have one major complaint, and that is there wasn't enough. There was only 4 songs on this EP, and by the time I finished it, I was like, no, god damn it, I want like 8 more songs. This band is awesome. It really sucks that there was only 4 songs here, but it was so enjoyable that I enjoyed every single second of it. Every song is relatively long. We're talking like 7 or 8 minutes each, but it really, I was just like, I want more. I want these guys to make a full album. I want to see these guys live. I want more fucking Vorbid, goddammit. So now it comes down to my final conclusion. If I had to give Vorbid a score out of 10, I think I will give them a full 10 out of 10. The vocals are amazing, the guitar work is masterful, that's a very high compliment. The drum work and bass work is very good, though I do feel that it was pushed to the back. It doesn't change the fact that they are very good musicians and the music is there. The production value is through the roof. I just didn't really care for the cover art, but that does not change the music. So 10 out of 10. So if you've never listened to Vorbid before, you definitely should. I'll be putting links in the description so you guys can find them on Facebook and YouTube and all that cool stuff. And if you have listened to Vorbid, man, share them around. These guys are great and they deserve a lot more attention. I want to see these guys on stage. I want to see these guys get signed to a record label. I want to see albums coming from these guys. Vorbid, check them the fuck out. So that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of today's video and checking out some of my past videos while you're at it. If you want to keep up with me on a more daily basis, you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. Links to those will be in the description. I also have a P.O. box now, so if you'd like to write me a letter, that is in the description also. I also have a few Black Metal Werewolf patches left, so if you'd like to get your very own patch, you can either click right over here, or you can find it in the description. Overall, thank you very much for watching, guys, and stay brutal.